Hey guys, welcome to the lab. Leon here. Episode 2 of Leon in the Lab starts right now. But before we start, wanted to give a special shout out to the sponsor of this video. Still Cannon has been great to me and the Views from the Vault family. Couldn't do this without you. Love and appreciate everything that you guys do for the fitted community. But yeah, moving on to episode 2, we got something really excited planned for you guys. Jon Ratner from the Sneaker Dads podcast joined me in the lab today. We mocked up some heat. He gave me some background on his collections. He's a longtime collector of sneakers and hats too. So I really hope you guys enjoy this episode. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys thought, things you would have done differently. Make sure you guys do like the video and subscribe to the channel for future release information. But yeah, without further ado, episode 2, Leon in the Lab starts right now. All right, we have Jon R in the lab today. Welcome, Jon.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting. Happy to be here.
Appreciate you taking the time to join me in the lab. I've spent a little bit of time on your podcast. You've been a long-time watcher of Views from the Vault, so we do appreciate you being a supporter of ours. So we got you in the lab today to make some hats. So I hope you're excited. Hope everyone enjoys this process. But this is pretty cool because you, sir, are someone I look up to in terms of sneaker content. You have a pretty big collection, as I understand. Maybe you downsized a little bit to what I like to call maybe what's the word I used?
It's like a balance, you know. If I can't, I got to make room first of all for the hats.
Yeah.
But you know, as a sneaker dad with a partner here raising my kids, you know, a couple hats, let's say, come in. A couple sneakers have to go out, but I found a nice balance.
I think the word I'm looking for is reconcile. So
I might use that.
Yeah. So I've definitely done that. Well, I definitely don't do that enough with my hats. So
Yeah,
I applaud what you're able to do because I'm a hoarder. So
yeah.
what kind of got you started with collecting?
Well, collecting, like, I don't know. I'm just want to. It's funny. My daughter, you could see, is a collector. She hoards stuff, and my son isn't. So it's got to be somewhere in my blood. My mom probably is like that. But when I was a kid, I was into, you know, like a lot of like rap and hip hop stuff. I collected T-shirts. Then it sort of evolved in my sort of young adult life when I had a little bit of money, jobs and things, into sneakers, and it got quite out of hand there for a while before I had kids. That, you know, really didn't have too many expenditures, you know, just like kind of go out and do whatever, eat out and buy sneakers. When as I grew older, I kind of got control. I'm kind of at like a healthy level. I don't know what it is. It's around maybe 150, but I don't know how healthy that is. Healthy for me, healthy for a sneaker hoarder. But then like a lot of people, I guess it was before the pandemic, but it was actually I have to credit Shahid and Still, because he ran OD Toronto, a sneakers resale shop in Toronto. And I remember him kind of telling and kind of, you know, kind of hinting that he was going to do something else when he left. And, you know, I followed him and things like that. And I had lots of hats, but nowhere near where I had now. And then when he made it, I kind of wanted to support, and I liked his designs, and started buying hats from Still really early on, you know. And, you know, I don't mean to plug Still because, you know, I've made hats with them, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But, you know, it's true what Shaheen's, the team there, have done for the hat community in Canada and Toronto and things like that. So they get some credit. Andrew Kahn, who I work with for hats and other things, joined me and put me in a group chat. And that also, actually, that might have really put me over the edge. So we'll blame or credit Andy and Fitted Fiends.
Yeah. So so you mentioned that you guys did a pack. One of my favorite packs last year, the Father Son pack. It actually probably dropped around this time last year. Pretty close to the 1-year anniversary. I really like that pack. Maybe we'll revisit that a little bit later in the show. But obviously, this is not going to be the first hat you've designed before. But like, what was that process like? Just from seeing it from, I guess, infancy stages of like, you know, like let's build a concept to mock up to adjustments to now the hardest part to me is the waiting after you've ordered them. and
Yeah.
waiting for them to come in. And whether or not you tell people or not, that's up to you. I prefer not to really tell people what I'm working on, because then in my head I think like time goes by slower. I think sometimes, like, when you got multiple projects out or multiple hats in production, if you don't talk about it, and when it comes, it's like a healthy surprise almost. But like, what was that process like for you, doing that with Andrew and still in the team over there?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Andrew, because he's really when we work together, he's really the design guy. I'm pretty good at ideas, but I'm not the artist. Definitely, if in when we team up, because he does a lot of things, without me, I don't do much without him. But as terms of creative stuff, but you mentioned we got lucky, number one, that it came out. It was father son pack. You never know how the timing. That was a tougher time for deliveries, a new era and things like that, so we got really lucky. I think still might have pushed a little harder and maybe made sure the shipping came in on time, so we got lucky with that. But we didn't know. We got really we were really happy that the hats turned out the way we envisioned them. That also always doesn't happen. I have them here, so I'm going to show them off because some people might have forgotten about them. But we got the Griffey here, father son. We got the Vladdy. This is the Vladdy Junior.
You consider that the senior? I consider that the senior almost, because, well, I don't know,
Dave,
because it's a Toronto logo, yeah, but that's Expo's colors. So
I,
this one I consider the
it's been
junior.
a while now. I forget. You got me doubting myself.
Yeah,
I thought it was the team. The team was the affiliated with the because Vladdy Junior could never wear this hat, right? Until the Expos come back.
But neither could senior, because those colors didn't exist when
Well,
he played, right?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Well, hopefully we get in deep into the woods with those in this call, this video about what we're allowed to do with this. Anyway, I just wanted to show those off. And I also did this one when the Toronto 6 collectors pack. So that was a little different process. That was a lot smoother because it's, these days, as you know, it's easier to make a hat and get things done. But it was a lot of fun.
You've also done it before, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. And that helps. I mean, I've looked through logos and I have ideas and designs, but nothing like you. So I'm happy to let you take the reins. But and I'm glad that's why you're doing this. But it was a lot of fun, and those hats were the vision we wanted. We had an idea of the father son, and we kind of found almost. We've talked about other father son duos. There are some, but I think we nailed the obvious four. Like, I don't think, if you go through it and it's like Vladdy Jr. and Vladdy Sr. are maybe the least, respected worldwide. You got the Bonzes, you got the Griffeys, and you got the, out of the three, like, you're doing pretty good. If the Guerreros are your third in order of how successful those guys are. I don't know if that's actually true, but we didn't hesitate when we had them. Like, we did 2 hats of them. So
I think statistically it's hard because Vladdy's career is not over yet. So like for the other ones, both of the Bonds players are retired, and for the Griffeys, they're both retired. So it's kind of hard. The jury's still out. I mean, Vladdy Sr. is still a Hall of Famer in his own right. And I think when it's all said and done, that pairing will probably be one of the best in terms of both, because Barry Bonds was amazing. If you paired him with his godfather Willie Mays, it might change the story, but Bobby Bonds wasn't the player that Barry Bonds was. And Ken Griffey Sr., although it was really cool, like, he had a really cool feat in that he played on the same team as his son. Like, that's super rare, right? But he's not nowhere the player of Ken Griffey, and that's not like to disparage them. I mean, like, to be compared to Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. is a big,
totally
it's like a big task. Like, we're talking like top 5, top 10 players ever, So
maybe
I think
there's a Godfather pack somewhere. You might have just stumbled on an idea. I bet you there's tons of baseball players who have other baseball players who are godfathers.
Oh yeah. But we'll talk about that off air. We can't give away the sauce for free.
Edit that out. Yeah.
No, we'll keep it in. But
Okay.
so your podcast called Sneaker Dads. I've had the privilege of doing that podcast with you. I do appreciate you breaking kind of the rule. I don't know if there was a set rule, but you usually would like interview and have guests on that are actual fathers. So you broke that rule for me. I appreciate you having me on.
That's not a rule. That's not a rule. That rule died a long time ago. I got moms, I got single women, I got single dads, I got
Yeah.
everyone. And you know what? It's evolved a little bit. And to hats, because I'm more interested in hats too. So I had Pierre on, I had Shaheen on, and I had you on fresh episodes. So that one's the newest. And yeah, you know, it's not all about it's definitely not all about parenting. It's not all about sneakers. I mean, you and I, we talked about hats 95% of the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of overlap. Like when we talked about that father son pack, you know, we you know, it didn't involve necessarily, you know, my kid, but he helped promote it. And even with some of my hats I've done with New Era for the brand, we get the kids involved. And my son's a big baseball fan. I've told you, he's obsessed with MLB, the show. I've asked you for advice about him and stuff like that. And we, you know, it's funny, that video game, I credit him, and no joke, for loving baseball as a player. We watched, but you know, being at home, discovering the game, and then saying, "Hey, I want to play this game and I want to watch it." And he even liked hats more because of it. And you know, now I coach his team, and we go to ball games whenever we can. Last year, we went on this road trip. We were going to go to a few minor league parks, and I actually pitched Shaheen an idea of a, you know, like a pack, and we couldn't make packs like that back then. I don't think you could make a pack like that even now. Minor league, I think, is still maybe a little bit tough, but you know, for every city on the way to Cooperstown between here and Toronto, and you know, there's a ton. You can't even go to all of them. There's like Batavia, there's Rochester, there's Buffalo. Anyway, this year we're doing 6 stops on the way to Rochester. We're going in a couple weeks. I'm taking him out of school early, and last year we only made it to Rochester. Rochester is great. I highly recommend it for anyone. The team's great. My son got all these balls, and yeah, we had a really, really good time. And so Rochester's at the top of the list, and it's also one of our sort of minor league teams to buy hats, because it's one of those teams that I feel like pops up here and there, and it's coming up more and more as people like minor league hats more and more. So I am looking at a DJ Mock hat that just came in, that camo pinwheel one.
And so you posted that.
Yeah, that one's amazing. I like the roller pack from Hat Club. That was nice and simple. I was asking my son about, like, you know, sometimes I'll double up. I'll get him the same hat, or sometimes if it's a logo, like when we went to the Rochester game, they did the garbage plates. And I remember telling you about it, and you were like, I don't like those food ones. I don't like them either. But and we decided not to get garbage plates hats, but we got garbage plate t-shirts. It was like something like Steal My Plate or something. It was like a home based logo. I gotta wear it, of course, when we go. But I thought they had some cool. They were sold out a bunch of hats, so he was like, "Damn, I want that one." Of course, I found them. Toppers does some. A lot of people do these minor league teams. So I'm like, you know, like a lot of people, I've grown more into minor league hats and stuff. As time goes, you know, you get tired of the same Blue Jays logo over and over. Although I'm not tired about this one that you did with Phil. This logo, I don't think is used enough yet.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of them, not particularly Jays logos, but everything. You know, I could look on my shelf and see, like, I have 10 hats, and it's like, you rarely do that with minor league hats, especially when people are digging up old logos, whether it's John Jay or DJ or whoever, you guys.
Yeah, so one of my funnest things to kind of do now on Instagram, whenever I see your story pop up, you always have something that's like the dashboard shot, the father-son shot. So I always thought that's kind of cool, because, you know, like I know some people that, like, you know, they have to double up on certain hats that they know, or that they think that they're gonna get ruined, or, you know, rock one, stock one. But you almost have like another type of double up that I don't envy you for. It's one for you and one for someone else that's gonna wear it, unfortunately. So that could get a little bit expensive, but you know, as long as he's sharing the passion, I think it's cool. Like your
He
son's
is.
probably got one of the better collections for someone his age, I would say. But yeah, it's always cool to see them back and forth, right? How close is he to your size, though?
Well, it's funny you ask because you know, last year when we made that hat, he was 3/8, and now he hardly fits in any of those. I don't know how heads grow. I never looked it up, but he's growing like everywhere, so he's growing taller, and so now he's a half, and I
Okay.
can wear 5/8. I'm usually a 3/4, but you know the difference between some halves and 5/8. I told him he's always, you know, I'm sort of buying him 5/8 now because I don't want him to have like a bunch of hats that are too small for him. He might stop growing at a half, but so we can share a little bit. He can't go into 3/4, but a 5/8, no problem. He's always like, Dad, hook up the insert. He's like, we do like the cheap foam ones or the stanky. I can never find him, but you know, he can wear a 5/8, and so can I. So we're almost there. It's kind of like sneakers. He's just turned 11 and he's already a size 8, so he's going to pass me. But I don't buy him any sneakers anymore because he's like 2 months, 3 months, and like I do, but I don't buy him anything crazy because every time he puts it back on, it's too small. So he he has a budget for hats because I stopped giving him a budget for sneakers.
Yeah, that was for me. That was kind of like how I was with sneakers when I was younger. I didn't know how to take care of anything, so I would like wear one pair of shoes till I wrecked it, and then I would just throw it to the garbage. You don't really learn that like hoarding tendency as a kid because I
No,
think everything's more disposable.
yeah,
But
no, yeah, and you're right. He doesn't take care of them either. I forgot to
yeah,
mention. And with hats, he sort of does. You know, at least have a spot for them. But you know, as long as he doesn't shove it in his backpack, like these days, he's wearing it. He wears it when he goes to school. I said, "Where do you put it?" He said, "I put it in my desk because they're allowed to wear it, but he doesn't." It's like, you don't have to wear it in class. He's like, okay, puts it in his desk and then he wears it out, right, to protect his head. So it serves a purpose for him, and he likes taking the pics. You know, I did sneaker dads. The idea of sneaker dads, to go back, is, you know, I saw this community of like, you know, it started as dads, kind of like crazy like me, who just wanted to make their kids pose for pictures. And on my podcast, I tell a story about this guy who always has his kids lined up nicely, and then sometimes he takes like a candid shot and his kids are on their iPads, and he shared the sauce of how he got his kids to stand still, right? He gave him an iPad and he gets these nice pictures. But I realized there's all these people like that, not just dads, right, who did this. So I started the page in 2017, years before I started the podcast. But now I'm kind of doing that with the hats a little bit because I like sharing what my son is wearing, and I know a lot of other people do that. And again, it's not just dads. I don't, you know, when we went to Soul Exchange, a sneaker convention here, we ran a contest. I said, you know, any kid, any older person, we did like a giveaway for a father, son, uncle, babysitter, whatever. We did some contests for just the kids and stuff. So, you know, definitely the podcast is for everyone. Like I said, when you came on, we didn't talk about anything but hats and sneakers. So people want to know more about your sneaker game.
no, that's
So I
awesome.
see you got some Red Wings. I'm not going to complain about this. Nice.
All right, so you want me to get you up to speed? So what
Yeah,
I'm doing?
sure.
All right, so first things first, you mentioned going out to Rochester potentially. So I pulled their stadium.
Nice.
So it's got a I believe it's called Frontier Field. So it's got this view of like this kind of like almost Vegas gold cream tannish building, as well as this dark green. So it kind of reminded me of this Amy Leon Dior hat that LeBron kind of made popular.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Hat Club ended up doing a Panna Cotta collection later on, similar to this. I remember being on the phone when Justin was working on them and giving him some ideas for the burgundy and the stuff like that. But that one kind of sticks out. Rochester is an affiliate of the Nationals, and I know you're a fan of the side hit script.
Yeah, I am.
So I'm thinking of melding the two and kind of giving it that Amy Leon Dior look.
Yeah.
with the Rochester R at the front. That's my first stab at it. And then we can kind of play with the crown. So we don't necessarily have to do an off-white crown. We can do a Vegas gold crown, stone crown, or off-white. So I'm kind of just playing with the logos first, and then I'm going to bring them into the mock-up, and then we'll pick the hat color after. But I want to have this kind of ready for you so that
that's cool. I like
so
it.
that we can go and work on that. But for now, that's what I got. I'm going to kind of work quietly off to the side.
It's funny. It's funny. I want to sorry to interrupt, but you mentioned the Nationals. When we went to the Rochester game, one of the reasons why my son was so hyped, I think one of the reasons why he wanted to stay, we were going to go to Syracuse. There was a game there, and he said, "I want to stay." CJ Abrams had just got traded for Juan Soto. Well, it wasn't a 1-for-1, obviously, but CJ was playing, and there's another guy. He's going to kill me. I forget his name. Who was yet to be called up. Anyway, he was hyped for CJ, and so I guess you have to do sometimes when you're traded, you go to the minors for a couple games. I don't know the details. You probably do, but he so CJ was there, and Callan was waiting. Like, the great part about a minor league ballpark and this field in particular, I'm sure they're all like it, is it's really chill. Like, you can go, you can sit almost wherever you want. I think the tickets were $9 or $15. And we were sitting like second row, and no one even cares. And the kids go up to the dugout. My son got 2 balls from one of the managers or pitching coaches, like just handing out balls. Like, it's tough at a J game, but these games aren't packed, and it's a very family and community kind of feel. Like, and that's the best part. And you're not going to drop $200. You're going to get a cheap hot dog, and and it feels different. It doesn't feel that corporate, because it isn't. So anyway, CJ was there, and then of course he went to the Nationals. So it's cool that logo could be part of it too. I mean, Rochester, I recommend not just the ballpark, but the city. There's a lot to do. Like, they had like a really cool museum. They had the craziest arcade in this museum, Leon. If you ever go to Rochester, it had every game we had growing up, from Oregon Trail to Tron, or what, like Cruising USA, the old school hockey. You remember the Canada Russia? Like, it was like a vintage arcade dream, because it's a museum, so they have everything. RBI baseball, like all the classics. My son was like, "What are these games?" But we played and he had fun anyway. They had a few more modern ones, but I really liked the arcade, and I think it was like $0.25. So anyone who's stopping in Rochester for a game, hit up that museum. I don't know if you're not with your kid, but I think they'll still let you in to play bids, because it was pretty good. And like I said, we're going to go do that, and we're going to go hit up Cooperstown. I've never been. Have you?
No, that's definitely something on the list that I need to do. Yeah, who's going in this year? Did they announce it yet?
I looked, because I wanted to make sure we weren't there that weekend, because I called them. I was like, "Are you guys open every day?" The guy said, "You don't need tickets." And then I think it's happening, I think in July. I didn't check who was going, but they do the ceremony, which is supposed to be, I from what I understand, you can go, because someone in our group chat is going. So I mean, that'll be the next trip. I just kind of, people said you could spend a whole day or more there. My son now knows more about baseball than me. My brother was the baseball guy growing up in my house. I played. I never knew the stats. I never collected cards like everyone else. But my son has taken over, and the show is largely to credit. He just knows all the players, right? Like, I mean, he's like, little kids are like sponges, but when it comes to these stats, he wants to know who's good, because he wants them in the video game, right?
There's a practical use. I like that.
So when the Jays play someone, he's like, "Oh, he's good." Or who's the guy who closed the game on? Who's their closer? The Twins guy, the
Duran.
Yeah, he was telling me how good he was, and I was like, "Yeah, I heard of him." And he's like, "Yeah, he's a beast." And then he gunned us down for 2 innings.
Yeah.
Based on my knowledge of the video game.
he's better in real life than he is in a video game. The video game cannot capture the 100-mile-per-hour splitter that he throws and like the 104
Yeah,
fastball.
that's that.
But yeah, he's more video game. That's crazy. He's more video game than real life. But this year's inductees are Scott Rowland and Fred McGriff. So there's a Blue Jay tie for both of those. So former Blue Jays.
Cool.
All right. So let's make this bigger for a second. So this is what I'm thinking for now. I mean, feel free to stop me. But so we have the logos kind of picked out. I mean, that's kind of how I think I would color it. We can adjust it. So you said you're getting kind of bored.
Well, maybe not.
Of,
it might
look Vegas
good,
Gold.
right?
I could show you what it looks like with Vegas
Gold.
Gold.
Might look good. No, is that what you were thinking?
So that's Vegas. So that's Vegas. And then if we were to do it in stone, I'll show you stone. So stone was the color of hat we just did with Anthem Shop.
Yeah.
The Clue hat, that was stone. Right? And then off-white would just look like so like that, almost cream
yeah color. I like that, or the Vegas. I think, I don't know, what do you think?
I'm leaning towards Vegas.
Yeah, I'm down with Vegas.
Yeah, because it looks more like the stadium to me. So like if you said you've taken the trip with your son before and you're gonna do it again, I think this is like a cool like homage to that trip. Sure, it's gonna remind you of the time you spent with him at Frontier Stadium. And then it's not an exact like rip off of the Amy Leon Dior color. I know we're kind of going for that same aesthetic where it's like a lighter color green with the lighter color crown with the darker green, and then the kind of gold that sets it off. I think that this is a cool kind of spin on it.
What's the brim and the R again? What are those colors?
So the inside is the same green as the brim. So it's
green. Cool.
The exact green is called, hold on. It's the forest green, so it's the just dark green. So
try not to ask too many color questions, but I am
no
I am colorblind. So
think
Pete and Andy for helping me with those.
Think green eggs and ham green.
Yeah.
Right. Panna cotta green. It's the same green. Green icy. It's the same green.
No, I like
Yeah.
And same with the button.
Yeah. So these eyelets would be tonal. They're just there to show you where they are. And then in terms of like batterment, do you have a preference? Flat, raised?
I like flat these days for everything. I'm become kind of crazy about it too. Like it could turn me off a hat, to be honest. I'm looking for excuses not to buy hats. I'm at that phase, so that's maybe that's
I think that's kind of how we invented like the fake rule of a button violation.
Yeah,
it was just like a way to convince yourself, like, hey, don't buy that hat.
Right, like who really cares? But
yeah.
What about a button? Do you like the? Do you ever like the off color button? Like find the color somewhere else in the hat. I guess there's really no other color there, right?
Unless you want to do a gold, but I feel like the gold will kind of get mixed in with the.
I agree. No, I would only if there was red somewhere, which there isn't. I keep looking at that middle R and then a red button, but no, I think it's clean like this,
Yeah, and then
I think too crazy.
And then for the batterman, we could easily just punch in the green and the gold.
Yeah,
or we could do a gold.
You choose gold because gold goes with green better than like a silver or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Kind of reminds me of like that, that Irish St. Mary's from like the LeBron.
Yeah.
We can do that one, or we can do a darker gold, and then run Vegas gold here if you like. We can keep it white. It doesn't matter. Do you have a preference?
No. I like both. A lot of people are doing like metallic out everything. Like maybe I don't know, but the side is, so maybe it matches, right?
Yeah. The side's metallic here.
Yeah. It's funny. Like when I'm sure it's the same in the hat world, because I talk to people about it with hats now, and like with sneakers, it's like you really, every time you shop, you want something different, right? I mean, we all sneaker people, whatever you're into, Dunks or Jordan 1s, right? I feel like that's maybe like the logo or the even the colorway. Like, I complained about for a second there about Vegas Gold. It's like maybe the Vegas Gold is like the Air Jordan 1 or like the Dunk, but then like Air Jordan 1 comes out that has something different or had something you haven't seen before, and then you're like, I need it. Like I just said, I had enough Vegas Gold hats, but I don't have anything that looks like that. So if I saw this, I definitely wanted them. I think that's when it comes to designing hat. I mean, you guys talk about this, and I'm not the one to give advice, but you got to design something you'd like and you want to wear, right? I mean, that's really all it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you must do that, right? When you design, like, you don't want to design something you wouldn't want to rock, right?
So when I'm designing stuff, I try to design something that I don't have first and foremost.
Yeah.
And that's something I can use and wear. But then I think I in my head I've gotten to the point where I know I'm not going to wear them all.
Yeah.
So and there's times where like I'll design something or I'll even buy something and I won't get it for like a year.
Yeah.
So like I'm never really like, I don't know, like it's tough. So like I'm never really just designing stuff that's like, okay, well I want to just wear this now. So I just am in like a stage of, I guess, my creative abilities where I just want to make something that no one has really done before. So I used to design thinking like, oh, so and so made this hat. I really wish they did it like this, and then I'll just kind of do my take on it. And then I've kind of moved towards more of like let's make something that like no one's ever done before.
Yeah.
Think of the hook in a different way, or think of a theme that no one's thought about, or get more intricate with like the subject matter or whatever. So yeah, like it's different. Like for you, like, so there's gonna be some similarities between like hats and shoes, right? Like how would, this is a debate that happens amongst hats, like and I don't know if you consider the same, but like the word grail in shoes, does it get tossed around as easily in the sneaker world as it does in the hat world?
I think it does, and I think it's okay.
Okay.
Everyone has their own definition. Um, I don't know. I don't know what I'd call a hat grail for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any, old OG hat club or anything like that. I have some Tie Heroes. I have some My Fitteds hats that people would pay a lot for resale for. But of course, in the sneaker world, that is what people consider. A lot of people consider grail, but not what I consider grail. It should have no value. It should be something that's hard to get. It should be something that you can't get on StockX. And people want to blame young people for saying, all the reimagined Chicago ones are their grail when all they need is, a $500 birthday gift from mom and dad, and they got it. If they want to think that, that's fine. But it does get tossed around. You were talking about designing a hat you like, and not being able to wear all of them. I have a couple bins here of hats I have sort of put away. In the sneaker world, there's like a school of people who will put away a new release until it kind of people forget about it, and maybe beat up all their pairs of Air Jordan 3 white cements, something like that, and maybe everyone's wearing them now. And then you break them out in 2 years, and people are like, "Oh, wow, you still have a fresh pair." And it's a luxury to have when you have a lot of sneakers. You can do that. But when I look at my sneakers, I don't have that many that are dead stock, but I do have some that collecting. You told me on my podcast that some things you collect because they're collector's pieces, and you never really intended to wear them. I have a good chunk of them. I have like a couple pairs of Lance Mountain ones that I just really just kind of want to have in the archive. Like you said, like Pierre talks about, like he gets a double, he'll bend one and he'll put one away. It's the collecting, it's that hoarding aspect. So I definitely have that. I'm looking, I have some Reese Forbes Dunks that, are really old. And it's kind of like sneakerheads kind of have the problem. It's like, I'm going to wear this for what occasion? I remember I had a pair of Heineken Dunks and I wore them on my 40th birthday. And it took me like another couple months to wear them again. And my son said, "You got to wear these." And that's the advice I give him. And I wore them to pick him up from school one day under that philosophy of wear your kicks. And I did not really feel it. I was kind of like, I don't want to scratch these up. There were too much. And I don't like having, it's funny. That brings up a story about Shaheen. I had a pair of dead stock Air Jordan 1 Chicago's that I bought from UN, Urban Necessities in Vegas. And it was before vintage shoes were popular. And I bought a pair for around $1,000, which is crazy to think of if you follow 85 OGs now. It didn't come with a box, but still, we're talking like 5 figures. I bought it for $1,000. I ended up selling for not much more than I bought it. I did okay. And I sold it to OD Toronto and they displayed it. And Shaheen was working there then. And they displayed it.
1985 Jordan 1 Chicago's. This is a museum piece. This is a part of history. It's because of this shoe, there's a sneaker culture. Like, this started it all. This one's very special.
And like, we went before a Raptor game and like kind of like visited them. But they were cool because it was kind of, they have like a museum kind of setup. And I don't know where the shoes are now. I don't think they're there anymore. Maybe they're in someone's house. But funny connection to me and Shaheen from still in the pre-still days, because and that the reason I brought that up, because I kind of didn't like thinking of things in terms of value, in terms of grails.
Yeah.
In terms of, my grail was always an 85 Air Jordan 1. I had it and then I sold it. I have some that I wear now, but I don't consider them grails. Maybe I've sort of, I don't want to sound like I've been there, done that, but I kind of have. I kind of over it maybe. And I have shoes that I haven't worn and I value them, and the same with hats. Like, I have so many that can be in the rotation. I could wear them unworn ones. I'm still buying new ones that I kind of have like a little stash as kind of like special occasion, or maybe never wear. That's stupid. I know it isn't to have hats that you plan to never wear. Like, what am I going to do? My son's not going to be as into hats as me. I doubt it, but we'll see.
You never know. So one quick question. I know this affects a lot of people's answer, so I'm not going to judge you either way. I don't really care which way, but sweatbands, white or black?
Don't care at all. And
Okay.
I'll put a sizing aid in if I have to buy a 7/8 in one of those grails, and I'll stretch it if it's a 5/8. I'll stretch it if it's a half if I really want the hat. But sweatbands, no. I don't even look. I don't even think I look. I never have cared. Maybe it's because these days I'm wearing a hat once, and unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you want to think, they don't get too dirty. And I'm driving my kids to school. I come home from work. It's not like I'm jogging in them. So we're looking at this. So what did you throw in then for sweatband?
I think we're done. I think we are done.
What about the UV gray?
I went gray. Up to you to change it.
No.
I think there's like a big push right now to move the grays and greens.
That's another one I use as an excuse to not buy a hat. These days I'll go red or blue, but that's about it. Other than green and grays, I think that's good. Definitely can't go green, right? So
yeah, I think this is ready, man.
I like it.
So we got the Vegas gold, dark green on the button visor. We got metallic gold around the R, green fill on the Rochester logo. Then the Nationals, we went metallic gold with a little bit of pewter on the side just to give it that little extra pizzazz. Flat Batterman at the back. And then a nice clean. Wow. I picked white. I think it's going to fit this aesthetic better, being more of like a classic looking hat. And then gray bottom.
I like it a lot.
All right. Cool. So let's put that in the hopper, and then on to number 2. So we spoke earlier about your little your pack what's still being the father-son pack. Now there's going to be 2 more father-son combos that exist on the Blue Jays. One of them more popular, admittedly, Bo Bichette, Dante Bichette. But the other one that's a little bit more unheralded is Baby Biggio. So Craig Biggio is the father, and Kevin Biggio is the son. So what makes these guys cool is that they may not be the most talented bunch, but they're like the underdogs. So Biggio's in the Hall of Fame, really, really short player. Started off as a catcher, and Kevin Biggio is kind of falling his way out of the Blue Jays rotation a little bit.
Yeah.
He had a really bad neck injury, but they share a really cool father-son stat that none of the other father and sons share. So I don't know if you know this. So that if you ever have a trivia night, I don't know. This is useless piece of
No, I don't know this
trivia information, but both Kevin Biggio and Craig Biggio have both hit for the cycle. So
nice.
For the uninformed, that means single, double, triple home run in the same game. So they've both done that. No other father-son combo has achieved both, basically. So
nice.
That's a cool little tidbit of information. I don't know how you feel about possibly mocking up another father-son pack. Maybe this could be the lost father-son pack, but I thought it would be a cool idea. Astro hats are really, really popular right now. And Blue Jay hats, the king of Blue Jay hats is still. So we could either do the Astros logos in Blue Jay colors, or we can do the Blue Jays in Astro colors. So which one would you lean more towards?
Yeah, I don't know. I think a Blue Jays hat
in Astro colors
seems more like,
Okay, all right.
I like Blue Jay hats way more than Astros.
Okay.
For a while, I wasn't even into Astros hats. Now I've broken down.
All right.
And bought some. Yeah. I never, when we did the pack, I never really, like I said, I never really thought anyone else is worthy. My son would be hyped to see a Biggio. He would hyped to be a Bichette, which we talked about being a possibility. But I'm not so sure I'm sold on whether, it's kind of like lost maybe for a reason. But I'd love to do, a Blue Jays hat.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so right here, I'm going to spare you guys a little bit of time. Basically, I'm just taking the Houston Astros colors and popping it into the Toronto Blue Jays front logo and side patch. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. But yeah, keep watching. Here, I got us to a point where I've taken the Blue Jay Angry Jay logo. We have a lot of the different seashell elements, like that kind of off-white cream color, with that brick red. And then the 30th anniversary patch, I've replaced most of the white with the off-color, and then the off-color white, and then added the brick red there as well. So now in terms of the hat, I was thinking that we do, so because our other hat was primarily a lighter color hat, maybe we could do something like this. So let me know what you think of here. So we go black on the crown, and then brick red on the button and visor. Or we could flip it. So the other option would be to do brick red like a cardinal.
Yeah.
And then black. Do you have a preference?
Yeah, I feel maybe like we've seen it, things like it, maybe less. You know what I mean?
So the other one you like more?
No, the second one I feel.
Oh, the second one. Okay.
Well,
cool.
Yeah, like I don't know. With the red crown, cardinal crown, seems more, I don't know, new and different to me. I don't know what you think.
I like either way.
Yeah.
So, as long as you like it, I like it. All right, so right here, we're just taking the finished colored logos and placing them on the hat and giving you a 4-hat view. Hope you guys are enjoying the episode so far. All right, so I don't know if I showed you, but I updated it Now it now has the green under, and this
Okay.
one I decided to go with the black um, sweatband because the brim is black. I feel like
Yeah.
that's like a better synergy. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is the second one. How you feeling about it? Did we
Yeah.
do
I
a good
like
job?
that. I liked it. I have to say, when you went with the black and the red, I was like almost like maybe we should do a black hat. But now that the crown is red, um, definitely that's like, if we, not that I don't like the muscle bird, but if it was a muscle bird, I would say I feel like you know I've seen it before, but not this for sure. Like
Okay.
this is different. I like it. Yeah, I would definitely buy this one. I definitely put it in the bin.
All right, perfect. All right, so that's hat 2. Moving on to hat 3. All right, so you talk a lot about getting your son into baseball and how fun that's been, but how did you get into baseball?
So I think I remember playing 1 year soccer, and then it was like baseball. Soccer wasn't a big deal, so that was a summer sport. I played hockey growing up, and the funny thing about hockey that ties into sports is that my parents are from Montreal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my parents are from Toronto, Montreal. I'm from Toronto. Like, so I'm not like really a real Leaf fan because I have that mixed blood. But you asked about baseball, so I grew up playing baseball. It's funny, my son started this year, as I mentioned. MLB The Show got him into playing the sport. Last summer, all the spots were filled up, so I ended up playing with him and other friends in the neighborhood. But he's playing now. He's playing at the same place I grew up playing at a similar age, and actually, younger. I was younger, but he's playing there, so it's really cool. But my dad was a baseball fan, and he, from Montreal, was the Expos, but he would make us watch J games. And back then, I actually think I sat through J games. Now I'll admit I have to flip the channel once in a while. Still too long. I'm not that diehard of a fan, but my son is making me. Again, my son having a positive influence on me because of his love of baseball. But when it came to hockey, I played a lot, and there's this funny story, or it's a book, and they made a movie out of it, or vice versa. And every Canadian kid kind of watches it. It's called Hockey Sweater, and it kind of exemplifies my sporting life because in the movie, the kid's from Quebec, he's French Canadian, and they all wear Montreal Canadian #9 jerseys for Maurice Richard, who's a great Montreal Canadian hockey player. And this boy accidentally from the Hudson Bay Company gets a Leafs jersey, and he's like heartbroken, and he's like, "Mom, what happened? I got to write a letter." And the reason I tell that story is because there's a lot of people who moved from, there's some historical, I won't get into it, moved from Montreal in the 70s into different parts of Canada, particularly Toronto. My parents were one of them, but I have this mixed blood. My son will never cheer for the Habs, and I don't cheer for the Habs, but I have this kind of, I'll say, distaste maybe for some Leaf fans, and it came from my dad. My dad taught me that Montreal Canadian fans are superior. It's kind of like the basketball, when you have all the rings, you can talk down. That's sort of what it is in hockey. The Habs have all these rings that are from a different era, so how much they count. So I have this mixed blood. So, and I also have this. We talked about baseball. My dad, he went to opening game at Exhibition Stadium, which, being Canadian thing, I think it snowed that day. It was a really, really rough park. It had those football kind of seats, those benches, but it was awesome. Like, it's good memories and I got to go to some games there. I don't remember them, but definitely got to go. So sports was a big part of it, and like, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a way to do like another generation. My dad happened to, he actually knew I was getting into hats. He used to ask me about sneakers, and we'd go to Raptor games. We were big Raptor fans, and he'd ask me, he was interested in stocks and stuff like that. So he asked me about the investment prospects of sneakers, and we talk about that. And like, sort of in his later years, when he was getting sick and stuff, we even talked about hats a little bit, because those were the earlier days. And he has a couple, I have a few old Jays snapbacks floating around the. I put the really old stuff in duffels. So some of his old stuff. So yeah, maybe we could do something old school, like that old school vibe, or maybe like a Montreal colors, or maybe I don't know. You have any ideas?
Well, so here I'll show you kind of what I've pulled out as you were speaking. So I know Hat Club did one of these crosstown rivals packs. So the long story behind that was you weren't allowed to really use this All-Star Game side patch with other team logos until more recently. So Hat Club did this like kind of pack that was called the Crosstown Rivals, where they did a Montreal Expos hat with the Blue Jays side patch, the Blue Jays with the Montreal side patch. The Yankees and the Mets have been doing it forever.
Yeah.
I think LA Angels, LA Dodgers, Pittsburgh Pirates with Philadelphia Phillies, but that was met with a little bit of friction from the faded community. Some people don't like mismatched patches. I don't mind them personally because Major League Baseball has this like rule where if you send the players to the All-Star game, one player from each team has to represent.
Yeah.
So at some point, they're like, oh, that's an Expos patch on a Blue Jay hat. Like, okay, but there was probably a Blue Jay player who was sent to the Montreal game. So I don't mind it as long as the story fits. But to kind of honor your dad being there for the first time, I think it'd be cool to use the old school Blue Jay logo, so the flat version.
Yeah.
I've used that one in the past. I actually prefer that one over the raised one sometimes. Mm-hmm. And then the old Montreal side patch. What do you think?
Yeah, I have a bunch of those flat ones. Like, I think I might have one of yours. I definitely have like a tie two-tone, maybe a toppers. That's one of my, I would love to do that. And I don't know who was there for the All-Star game, but if I think we could do something with that for sure. Like that sort of tells, that kind of tells the story. I don't know if I wonder, I guess my dad probably had moved to Toronto by then, but even, that's very cool.
Yeah, so
let's
see what it looks like on a hat. So here I'm just playing with the Blue Jay logo, putting it on the mock-up, and then John randomly is gonna pull out a crazy old pair of shoes. So hope you enjoy that.
But I got a pair of I'll show these off. These are kind of not really a grail, but I just thought of it. I wasn't going to show these, but these are OG4s. Got these from Curated Van, who I've given him some pairs of. I've given him some ones because I was, again, I don't want to like pat my own back, but I was into the vintage ones before they kind of got really popular. So of course this is not wearable. This is going to totally crumble any minute if I am not careful. It's like a total
restore job.
Yeah, but I wouldn't restore this. I wouldn't restore that. That's not for restoring unless it completely fell apart. But I sold I don't need 6 pairs of 85s. That's why I sold that pair to OD Toronto. I have 3 left. I wear them. One's luckily don't deteriorate, but a pair of OG4s. This is basically like a museum piece, and this is my basement, and like my buddies will come over once in a while, more like my son's friends and stuff. I need to not think I have a museum and get rid of that. But nice to have.
It's definitely something I think about if I have enough stuff to open a museum one day. That way it just gives me an excuse to just get rid of everything.
Yeah. I'm sure between you or by yourself and Pierre, you guys could do something pretty crazy. I mean, you guys have sort of different, I mean, I'm sure there's overlap, but you sort of have different collecting styles too, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm sure he's eclectic.
Pierre,
You're heavy J's, and you also have a lot of like different, like not even MLB stuff, right?
Yeah, Pierre has the style of buy everything.
But he doesn't do like non-MLB as much as you, right? You do a lot of like other stuff, don't you?
I like the streetwear a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, like you showed
he does
off.
too.
Like
he does too. I would say, yeah.
But like when you show me, when you did like a video, you were like, oh, I got all colorways of the fear of God, or like older stuff, and you have like Raptor stuff, and you like, you know, probably a few snapbacks thrown in there because they
No,
just
no,
were
no.
like,
No
none,
snapbacks for me. No,
none,
not really.
not
Not
for
really, because I'm size 8.
no. But
I
what
got
about for collecting purposes? You never buy a snap like this is like the archive.
not really.
Oh, okay.
I have a couple. So, like, you talk about MLB The Show, but like MLB The Show will come with a free hat sometimes. Like, I'll get that one.
We know that. Yeah, I'm new to the MLB Show game.
Yeah, and then what's it called? I'm drawing blank. When the Raptors won, so our championship hat. Those are snaps.
No, I don't want to hear your snap collection. I want to hear like, I'm curious, like what else other than MLB, because I know you make that with Capologists. You make like obviously non-MLB hats, but like you have like, you know, like I don't know, like cartoons growing up, stuff like that. Are you into that stuff? Yeah.
I got some like Ninja Turtle stuff, or some Mishka, NYC.
Yeah, you mentioned
different brands
on my podcast. Yeah,
like I got a bunch of different ones. What else? Why am I trying to blank? Joe Fresh Goods, Huff.
Yeah.
Huff's really big into, I guess, the skater world. Kenny Gold, just old stuff. Yeah. All right. So I think I'm ready to show you what I got here. So I went with red because, you being Canadian, the Toronto Blue Jays being in Toronto, Montreal Expos being in Montreal, I think the red is what unites us. They both have similar color schemes with the blue, white, and red, but I think red is something that kind of unites all Canadians. So I went with that. I kept the logos just how they normally come. So I didn't change anything for that. And then so for the back, we could do a Batterman, we could do no Batterman, or we can do a Canada flag.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know. I'm a big fan of no Battermans. I don't know if this is
okay.
Maybe I always wonder why, if there's ever any method to that madness. I don't know if in a red hat.
Yeah. So
no Batterman. Like I was thinking if it was like navy or dark, it's easier to go no batter. I don't know why I think that, but
it's to me it's just a matter of preference. So like when collectors are like, oh, the eras don't match or whatever, like you can apply that same type of rule with the Batterman.
Yeah.
So like this is such an old hat that they would have never wore a Batterman. So like the absence of a Batterman wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't be necessary, but it wouldn't bother me. But at the same time, they would have never wore a side patch either. So it's like it's one of those things that
when did Battermans become a thing?
I think 1993.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's actually historically sort of semi-accurate.
Yeah. Without the side patch though.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have worn side patches was 1996.
I don't think I'm getting away with asking you to do a plain Jane, and I don't think it would be good with this logo anyway. We got to do a side patch. But I was going to ask you, because I don't really do, I mean, I have some, but I don't really do red that much. I know the Canadian, I don't want to abandon the Canadian thing, but I'm wondering if you thought we could try to keep this, but like.
So the other option, and I know you, because you made a comment about it. I think this looks better, but you said you wanted to do a mono hat, but I think the two-tone looks better. But I don't want to spam the two tones.
What about like a double blue? Like you love
sneaky two tones.
I don't even have to be sneaky, but like sneaky every two tone that's the same color as sneaky. But I mean, I don't know if you think we could do a mono or a two tone in blue, because that's really my favorite. And I know this. I mean, I don't want to make it a hat that looks like a Jays hat that's been done 100 times. Does this color blue give you that?
A little bit.
Yeah. But is this more like a royal or like a light navy right now? What do you have?
This is like the royal.
Yeah. What about if it was dark, like dark? Would
like
that give navy? Would that give you, because the front works with anything, right? And so does the side. If it's even if it's a navy, right? Because
we can go a darker tone.
like I don't know what these are. I should know. Maybe I could look it up. But like, there's navy and there's dark navy. Is that right?
So there's late navy and then light navy, and then there's a midnight navy.
And midnight's the darkest.
Yeah, midnight is basically the Yankees, Tigers, all those teams. Braves.
Yeah, that looks black.
That's basically black. Most people cannot tell a difference.
So what if I feel like that might be what this is? No, this can't be. This has to be. Shoot,
that's black.
I don't know my phone. No,
that's navy. You sure?
I don't know. Could it be? could the lighter one be that one of the blues? Like this.
That might be light navy, which is the same blue as Dodgers.
Yeah, and this could just be a blue, not a navy. It could be one of the blues, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's navy.
I never saw the mock-up, so. But
so this is light. This is
light
navy. This is light navy. So that would be Dodger blue equivalent.
And could we make the brim darker, or should it be the other way around if we're doing something sneaky?
I prefer the brim to be darker, so we can go a darker shade of blue.
So now the problem is there's a topper's hat that was like this and a tie hat like this. They didn't have the same side patch, right? But they did a sneakies. They both did sneakies. You remember?
Fine. That's fine. They don't own the phrase.
No, I know. I just don't like. I have those hats. So I'm trying to. I don't think they were that dark though. Yeah, I'm wondering if we can make it as dark. Like that's what I like. If I'm going to be selfish on this one and do one that I want to rock, like could we do the top even the Yankee navy, or that be too dark? That's not.
I mean, it'll look black. It'll look black.
Yeah, but it isn't. It isn't when you have it in hand, right? You could tell, right? It looked dark. It looked black.
The funny thing about Yankee hats is if you look really closely, all their eyelets are black. It's like a default setting.
Even though
it's like a dark navy.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I have no problem with a dark hat, and then we could go. Sorry, the tone down would be navy.
Night shift navy. So we can go navy, like basically the Yankee navy.
Yeah.
On the hat. So like this. So almost be black, which is cool. And then for the bottom one, we can do like a shade lighter.
We go lighter instead of even though this looks good, darker brim, and you said you prefer it, but for the sake of this,
for the sake of giving you what you want,
we could flip it.
I will yield. No, this looks good to me. Yeah, it's like a darker version of of the Blue Jays Alt 4 logo, the Alt 4 hat. You know, the new one. The one that you guys did.
Color.
Yeah, I like it if you like it. The only thing is maybe consider possibly. Now hear me out.
I'm hearing you.
Maybe make this blue, turn the white to black, but I don't know if I like it.
You know, I think I asked you this another time about how you felt about logos that kind of blended into the hats, but I don't know if it kind of takes away from the Expos vibe, right?
Yeah,
if you had it too dark, right?
Yeah, I think so.
What?
And then I would make this a green bottom still, or even gray.
Is there any opportunities to like spice this one up with anything, like any silver or anything? Do you think
you can change the white for silver?
All of it, or just some outline?
I think it'd be all of it. I think they're tied together.
Oh, I see. And there's really no other outlines or anything, right? Because the Expos thing doesn't have.
No.
Really.
I mean, unless you give them matching hair to what you got, give them the little silver fox.
Yeah. My dad had that. My dad had really white hair.
Yeah. Unless we go give him the silver fox.
No, we don't need to do that. That'd be cool. But show me what was it before? Or
it's like this light blue. It's a light
blue now.
Yeah. So this is how it was
Yeah, thank you. I need the.
how it comes, I guess, and then
I think that goes better. So many navies and so many blues, right?
yeah.
Oh, that's pretty fire to me.
I mean, the silver looks pretty good. It's not a
Yeah.
bad touch.
Is it regular silver or is it
Metallic, like a
Yeah.
metallic silver?
so this? I just think it would be cool to have something sort of different. It's sort of
Yeah.
when we were doing these and Andy and Shaheen were like, I kind of just wanted really plain. I wanted no outline, and it would have been the worst. It would have been a huge mistake. I know it's a different, like that's a word mark, and this is a logo, so it's a totally different situation. But part of me always likes like plain, like no outline. Like when you were doing that, the Red Wings hat, I was like, oh, I don't want. In my back of my head, I was like, I don't want gold. But then you take it away, and it kind of looks incomplete, right? So maybe this adds like, yeah, I love it now. See, now it gives it a totally different kind of feel, doesn't it?
And then the blue and the blue and the red, we can make the metallic too.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that overkill?
No, I don't think so. I like it.
Yeah, you do
and
it.
then
If you're gonna do it, you do it.
And then I think that you should leave the back with nothing.
Yeah, because that is sort of, it's just going to be more metallic on the back, and it kind of doesn't need it, right?
Exactly. So it's like you're not overdoing it. So yeah, I think this is a good looking hat. I think you really leave the front. You leave the front with a bit of white.
Yeah,
I'm cool with letting the front breathe a little bit. You go metallic red, metallic blue on the front. Nothing on the back. Plain old green bottom.
Yeah.
This could be a black or it could be a white. It doesn't really matter to me. Do you have a preference?
No, I mean, I wish there was a rule.
No, there's no rules.
There's no rule. No, I wish there was in cases like this, right? Because you said it's a dark hat, so maybe go dark, right? Because you don't want the white showing up like right here, right? That was kind of what you said earlier, right?
No, I like the white when it shows.
Oh yeah,
I like it. Yeah. But
as a contrast. Oh yeah, because we have white. So let's do white. Let's do it.
All right, that's cool. All right, so
and
presenting hat number 3.
Yeah, and the green over the gray. I like the green better. In this case, it's for some more color, or because we already have silver. It's kind of like more. I don't want to do it. I'm just curious. Your thought process. Okay.
I like.
I think this is like better than I dreamed. Wow.
There you go. So
that's really cool.
That's awesome. So I guess the best way to do this is we let the crowd decide and influence us on which one they think should be made. We're gonna send them all to Shaheen and the team over at Still to see which one that they like the best. But I'll save this one too. So yeah, before we go, tell everyone where they can find you.
So my Instagram handle, Heads Ain't Ready, is up on the screen. So that's where I do most of my daily stuff and share my hats and hat collections and sneakers and stuff. But the other IG account is Sneaker Dads, which is also the name of the podcast, just Sneaker Dads. If you're looking online, there are some other competitors who use that name. I don't mind. But I am just Sneaker Dads, not any other words. If you're looking for the podcast, look for Leon on it. There's lots of hat content, but Leon, if you're watching this, soon or after it comes out, Leon will be the most recent guest. So timing worked out nicely that way. Sneaker Dads on all your podcast platforms and also on IG. This has been a lot of fun. I didn't expect we could get through 3 and. All that I really
it was easy.
like. No,
it was
it's
easy.
Like no lie. I really like those.
It was easy. All right, so I have built the slideshow of all 3 designs. That was a really cool experience. I was nervous in my head. I think it took me a while to get used to doing this on camera. So if it dragged out a little bit, I'm sorry, but. To our viewers, but we're at this point. So I think we made 3 beautiful hats. Hopefully you guys think that as well. But let us know in the comments which is your favorite and which one you would want to see most produced. But so the first one, the Frontier Stadium, Rochester Red Wings with the national side hit. Shout out to CJ Abrams. John, what do you think about this design?
I think CJ Abrams would love us. No, I like it. I like it, the different style. You know, people have done this like simple front logo with the scripts on the side a little bit, but I want to see more of it. Whenever I see a hat like this, I consider buying it. And like I said before, I'm trying not to buy as many hats. This definitely, I like it. I like the storyline, of course, but like how you tied it to the actual story with the color scheme. Yeah, this one I'm going to lobby for myself.
All right, cool. Second one, the Lost Father-Son pack, the Bigios. So this one is cardinal red and black with terracotta threading and seashell, like a cream color, done with the angry blue jay and the 30th anniversary patch. This commemorates father-son duo Craig Biggio and Kevin Biggio of the Toronto Blue Jays. What do you think about this one?
Well, you've designed hats for Still. I've worked with Still on. This looks like it might be a Still hat, although it you know, because of the father-son thing. Like I like the lost father-son idea. I'm not sold on the Biggio, but you know, like you said earlier, like, you know, there's always got to be one better player in the combo. I like it. I wasn't. This was the one that I was more hesitant on, but and it's almost maybe easier to wear. You know, Toronto and the colors than you know, Vegas Gold is very popular, but this could definitely get in the rotation pretty quickly for me. So yeah, right. I like it a lot.
All right, cool. And last but not least, this one is kind of a combination of many things. This kind of celebrates your heritage, being a Canadian from Montreal, now living in Toronto. It's got a little bilingualism in it, in the side patch, which anyone can appreciate. But yeah, the sneaky two-tone, one almost to pay homage to your father with the program. What do you think of this one?
The program, the Montreal connection. I like the additions you made at the end with the, you know, with the metallics and stuff. I think that really sets it off and makes it something really, really unique. And, you know, it's unique already. Yeah, I think, this is my favorite. I love no baddies, and it's cool that we just didn't do it for no reason. We did it like we can, you know. It's funny when people talk about, like, you know, you design a hat and then I'm sure some people come up with the story afterwards and the hook. You know, you just do it and then you make it up after. I haven't done that yet. Actually, Toronto After Dark might have been credited to you. I forgot about that one. There wasn't much of a hook. I mean, but I really like the colorway on that. So yeah, I like them all. You did an amazing job. Thank you for letting me do this. But yeah, I'm going in honor of VFTV. I'm going 3-1-2.
3-1-2. Okay.
In my order.
All right.
What about you? I'll put you on the spot like Pierre does.
I think if I were to rank them, 1-3-2. I think. But that last number 3 is really good too. So I don't know. You can't go wrong with either. So stay tuned. You never know what's gonna happen. Hopefully in a couple months we'll do a revisit with a blind unboxing. So
nice.
And then you're gonna have to see it in real time which one gets made.
Oh, I don't even get to find out. That would be better. Don't let the creator, assuming he picks one or we can make one. That'd be cool. I would be tortured, but that would be actually better if you don't tell people what it is. And then like make them suffer and then
if he makes any changes, that's up to him, right? That's creative license. This is the concept. We hand it off to him. Here you go. And then
even better. You shouldn't even tell them what they're on for. You should just be like, invite me on for like another something. And then just be
but you're gonna have a box. I'm gonna tell you not to open.
No,
do not open.
You have the box.
No, you're gonna have the box because you gotta see how it came out.
I hope this happens. But if it doesn't, it's still really cool, and I'm glad we got to do it. It was a lot of fun, and thanks for letting me talk a lot.
Perfect. So, thank you so much for taking the patience to be here. You were supposed to be the premiere episode, but we ended up filming a tester episode, and that ended up being the premiere episode. So, thank you for not being salty. Episode 2, Leon in the Lab in the books. We up.
Later.
Thanks.